You've probably seen the tweet by now. LSU's senior running back Max Cooke said when you play LSU, you're playing against guys who had options, different breed. He's not wrong about one thing. Those guys were highly recruited. 4 stars, 5 stars, national offers, that's real. But here's what's also real. Recruiting rankings are subjective opinions made when you were 17. And Saturday isn't played on signing day. It's played on film study. It's played on preparation. It's played on execution. We don't build this program on who noticed you first. We build it on who you become. We find talent other programs missed, not because you couldn't play, but because they couldn't see what you'd become. And LSU, they develop their players too. They have good coaches. This isn't about proving their approach wrong. It's about believing in ours. They think this game is about options. We know that it's about execution. They're playing for perfection. We are playing for purpose. Different urgency, different edge, different stakes. This isn't about anger. It's about clarity. We're not trying to out-athlete LSU. We are trying to out-execute them. Gap discipline, leverage, eyes, hands, finish. Games like this expose what you really are. Saturday, we get to test our development against championship-level talent. And that's not pressure, that is opportunity. We know what builds champions. Now, we get to show it. All right, you've heard enough from me. Daniel wants to say something.
Max Cooke's right about one thing. I didn't have options. Coming out of high school, I had 0 D1 offers. Not one. Went to junior college because it was the only place that would take me. Spent 2 years at a JUCO in Texas nobody's heard of. Worked my ass off, developed, got noticed. Coach Al and this staff saw something in me that those other programs missed when I was 18. I've been at UTSA for a year and a half now, started 10 games, made plays. But more than that, I understand football now. Not just where to line up, but why. Coach Leff taught me to read offenses before the snap. My technique's cleaner. My film study's actually productive instead of just watching tape. Off the field, I'm 3 classes from my degree. First person in my family to graduate college. That happens in May because this program cares about more than just Saturdays. So when Max Cooke talks about guys who had options like that's what matters, he's missing the point. I didn't have options. I had to earn everything. And that's exactly why I'm ready for this game. LSU's talented, no question, but we've been tested in ways they haven't. We've had to develop, had to prove ourselves every single day. That doesn't make us weaker. It makes us ready. This game isn't about proving them wrong. It's about showing what happens when you give overlooked players elite coaching and they buy in completely. I'm not intimidated by LSU. I'm grateful for the opportunity to test myself against them. That's what this program gave me. Belief that my high school recruiting ranking doesn't define my ceiling. It's the work that I put in that defines me.
In what's shaping up to be one of the most intriguing conference matchups of Week 13, an unexpected storyline is adding fuel to an already high-stakes game in the Creole Plains Conference. Earlier this week, LSU senior running back Max Cooke, the Tigers' 93 overall rated star and former 4-star recruit, posted a message on social media that quickly made its way through both locker rooms. Cooke wrote, quote, "Props to UTSA for maxing out their potential. That's real. But when you play LSU, you're playing against guys who had options. Different breed. Hashtag Creole Plains Champs." The post has since generated over 30,000 likes and nearly 2 million views. Cooke and the Tigers enter Saturday's matchup undefeated at 11-0 and ranked 6th in the college football playoff standings. LSU has already clinched a berth in the conference championship game. UTSA, meanwhile, sits at 9-2 and must win this game at the Alamodome to secure their spot. So what did Cooke mean by options? In recruiting circles, LSU's roster is loaded with nationally ranked prospects, players who held multiple Power 5 offers coming out of high school. UTSA's roster tells a different story. Many Roadrunners were overlooked, lightly recruited, or developed internally after being evaluated as mid-tier prospects. But Roadrunner head coach P.J. O'Connell did not dismiss the comment. Instead, he addressed it directly with his team. Sources inside the program describe O'Connell's message as measured and tactical, acknowledging recruiting realities while reinforcing belief in the Roadrunners' development model. According to players, O'Connell emphasized that recruiting rankings are subjective opinions made when you were 17 and framed Saturday's matchup as an opportunity, not to prove LSU wrong, but to test the Roadrunners' development against elite competition. This game now represents more than just standings. It's a philosophical clash. LSU, a program built on elite recruiting pipelines and championship pedigree. UTSA, a program built on identifying overlooked talent and unlocking potential through internal development. And with the Tigers already locked into the conference title game, urgency may be on the Roadrunners' side. Kickoff is set for Saturday night in San Antonio. And if nothing else, this tweet has ensured one thing: everyone will be watching.
Reality check. LSU's Max Cooke says what everyone's thinking. Roadrunners face truth of talent gap in critical conference finale. By Frank Morrison, sports writer at the Unheralded Herald. In my 35 years covering football in Texas, I've learned that sometimes the most honest assessment of a team comes not from the press box, but from the opposing locker room. LSU running back Max Cooke delivered that assessment Monday evening via Twitter, and while UTSA fans may not like it, the four-star senior from Biloxi simply stated what anyone who's watched real college football already knows. Props to UTSA for maxing out their potential. That's real. But when you play LSU, you're playing against guys who had options. Different breed. Harsh? Perhaps? Accurate? Almost certainly. Saturday night at the Alamodome, the 9-2 Roadrunners host the 11-0, 6th-ranked Tigers in the final game of Creole Plains Conference regular season play. The Tigers have already clinched their spot in the conference championship game. UTSA needs a win to guarantee their berth, though they could still slip in with a loss if other results break their way. And Max Cooke, all 93 overall rating, 193 yards in his last outing, just told us exactly how this game will go. Let's address what O'Connell and his staff won't say publicly. There is a talent disparity here, a significant one, and it exists within their own conference. LSU's roster is littered with players who had offers from Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. Players who were evaluated by the best programs in the country and deemed worthy. Players who, yes, had options. UTSA's roster, comprised largely of overlooked prospects, junior college transfers, and developmental projects. Players other programs passed on. Players who, and let's be honest here, didn't have options. O'Connell has built his entire program identity around this reality, branding it as the Unheralded Dynasty. It's clever marketing. The community has embraced it. But Saturday night, marketing meets measurables within conference play, and that's when things get uncomfortable. The predictable outrage machine has already fired up. Local radio is treating Cooke's tweet as some unforgivable slight. Social media is filled with Roadrunner fans demanding the team use this as motivation. But what exactly did Cooke say that was inaccurate? He acknowledged UTSA has maximized their potential, a compliment actually, given the recruiting limitations. He stated a fact about scholarship offers and recruiting pedigree. He used the term different breed, which might sting the Roadrunners' pride, but isn't demonstrably false. In the old days, before everyone needed to be coddled with participation trophies and everyone's special messaging, this would have been called honest assessment. Now it's bulletin board material. The truth is, Cooke did UTSA a favor. He gave O'Connell something to rally around besides the actual football matchup, which doesn't favor the home team. Saturday night will provide the most significant test yet of O'Connell's development over recruitment philosophy. Can a roster of overlooked 2-star and 3-star recruits, no matter how well coached, compete with elite conference competition? Can technical precision overcome superior athleticism? Can gap-sound defense stop a 93 overall running back who's been unstoppable all season? We're about to find out. And if the answer is no, if LSU handles UTSA the way elite conference programs typically handle developmental programs, then we have our answer about the ceiling of this model. You can develop players all you want, but at some point, you need elite players worth developing. At some point, recruiting rankings matter. At some point, talent wins, even within your own conference. P.J. O'Connell has done admirable work at UTSA. He's built a culture, established an identity, and won games with limited resources. Nobody disputes that. But Saturday night, his Unheralded Dynasty faces the conference's actual dynasty, a program with tradition, resources, elite recruiting, and championship expectations. The same program they might have to face again in 2 weeks. And when the dust settles, when the final whistle blows, we'll have our answer about whether development really does beat talent at the highest level of conference competition. My prediction, we'll discover what we already suspected. It doesn't. LSU 38, UTSA 17. Max Cooke was right, and UTSA better hope they don't have to learn that lesson twice.
What's happening, San Antonio? Carlos Rivera with you on the Big Game Show. And folks, we are diving deep into the Max Cooke tweet today. And I'm not doing this alone. I've got someone who actually knows what she's talking about. Joining me for the full hour, Jasmine Williams from The Athletic. Jasmine, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Carlos, though I'm pretty sure you know what you're talking about, too.
I appreciate the confidence, but you're the one who breaks down film for a living. I just yell into a microphone.
Well, today we might need both.
Exactly. So for anyone who's been living under a rock, LSU running back Max Cooke tweeted this yesterday. Let me read it. Props to UTSA for maxing out their potential. That's real. But when you play LSU, you're playing against guys who had options. Different breed. Hashtag Creole Plains champs. Jasmine, first reaction. What went through your head when you saw this?
Honestly, I thought, well, that's going to create some noise. But then I sat with it for a bit, and my second thought was more interesting.
Which was?
That he's half right and half missing the point entirely.
Okay, that's what we're here to unpack. Break it down for me.
Let's start with the factual part. Max says LSU has guys who had options. That's objectively true. LSU's roster averages 3.7 stars per recruit over the last 4 classes. UTSA's averages 2.3. That's not opinion, that's data.
So he's right about that part.
He's accurate about recruiting rankings, yes. But here's where it gets more complex. Recruiting rankings measure what you were at 17 years old. They don't measure what you become at 21.
So you're saying UTSA's development changes the equation?
I'm saying it complicates the equation. Look at Brian Campanaro, 2-star recruit out of high school, now a 90 overall fullback who's one of the best blocking backs in the conference. Did the Tigers miss on him, or did UTSA develop him into something he wasn't yet?
Both?
Probably both, and that's what makes Saturday interesting.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate. Max says different breed. Is he wrong?
Athletically? No, he's probably not wrong. The Tigers have better raw measurables across the board. Faster 40 times, better vertical jumps, higher bench press numbers.
So talent-wise, they are a different breed.
Talent-wise, yes. But football isn't played in a combine. It's played on Saturdays, and that's where Max's tweet falls apart. Max is assuming that recruiting rankings directly translate to on-field performance. Sometimes they do, but not always. I've watched UTSA's film. Their offensive line isn't going to win combine competitions, but they're technically excellent. Their assignments are sound. Their execution is clean.
So what happens when UTSA's technique meets LSU's athleticism?
That's literally what we're about to find out Saturday night.
Let's talk about Max Cooke specifically. You've watched his film this season?
Extensively. He's legit. 93 overall, averaging 6.2 yards per carry. Vision is excellent. Makes defenders miss in space.
So UTSA's got a problem.
The Roadrunners have a challenge, but here's what's interesting. They've held opponents to 3.1 yards per carry over their last 4 games. That's not an accident.
What are they doing differently?
Gap discipline. Joshua Left's defense doesn't try to out-athlete opponents. They put defenders in the right gaps and make them execute their assignments. Against most conference opponents, that's been enough. Against the Tigers, it needs to be perfect, because Max Cooke doesn't need a huge hole. He'll create one with a jump cut or make a guy miss in the backfield. UTSA can't have mental errors. They can't miss assignments.
So they can stop him, but the margin for error is razor thin?
Exactly. Which brings me to the maxing out potential part of the tweet.
You think they've maxed out?
I think that's the most insulting part of what Max said, and also the most provably false. The Roadrunners' defensive efficiency has improved every single week this season. Their third down conversion defense is 12% better than it was in September. They're creating more turnovers. They're getting more pressure on quarterbacks. That's not maxed out, that's ascending. Max is looking at where they started, not where they're going. Big difference.
Let's talk about what Max Cooke's tweet reveals about LSU's mindset. They've already clinched the conference championship. UTSA hasn't. Does that change anything?
It changes everything. LSU is playing to protect an undefeated record. UTSA is playing for their season. Different kinds of pressure. Some teams play better with their backs against the wall. Some teams play better when they're loose and confident. I think P.J. O'Connell has prepared them for this exact moment. This program is built on being counted out. Max Cooke just gave them exactly the kind of external doubt they've been using as fuel for 3 years.
So the tweet actually helps UTSA.
The tweet helps UTSA's preparation and focus. Whether it helps them win, that's about execution, not motivation.
All right, final segment. I want your honest assessment. Is Max Cooke right or wrong?
He's right about the past. The Tigers recruited better. He's wrong about the present. The Roadrunners have developed into a legitimate conference competitor, and he's about to find out about the future on Saturday night.
Okay, now I'd like to hear your prediction.
I think the Roadrunners keep it within 1 score. I think it's a game in the fourth quarter. Whether they win that game depends on execution in critical moments.
That's very diplomatic.
That's very honest. The Tigers are favored for a reason, but UTSA has earned the right to believe they can win. Both things are true.
If you had to pick a score?
LSU 31, UTSA 27, but I wouldn't bet my paycheck on it.
And if UTSA wins?
Then Max Cooke learns a valuable lesson about the difference between recruiting rankings and football games. And the Unheralded Dynasty proves their philosophy works at the highest level.
And if LSU wins by 3 touchdowns?
Then we have an uncomfortable conversation about program ceilings and whether development alone can compete with elite talent and resources.
You're not going to give me a definitive take, are you?
The definitive take is that this is a fascinating test of 2 different program philosophies. Everything else is just speculation until Saturday night.
Fair enough. Jasmine Williams, thank you for bringing actual analysis to this show. People can read more of your work at The Dynasty.
Thanks for having me. And San Antonio, enjoy the game. This is what sports are about.